Yo, what is going on YouTube? It's your boy MidPokeMaster here today with the NCP Season 5 Draft Analysis for your Kentucky Torracats. So, before we get any further, don't forget to like and subscribe and click that bell in the top right corner if you want a notification whenever I upload. So, NCP, it is back. Obviously, Season 4 just ended. We lost round 1 of playoffs. Finals, I think, literally just went up, a few days ago, but we are back with Season 5. They did what BBR did with these last two seasons where there was just no break. Want to jump right back in, new roster, new teams, obviously. So, a lot has changed with NCP while a lot has stayed the same. We have new coaches, new commissioners. My good pals, John Jr. and Zombie, captains, stepped down as commissioners. Just don't really care about Mons anymore, but still wanted the league to go on. So they handed it off to the new commissioners, Grandmaster D-Ray, OG Albina, and Just Kurt, all three good pals of mine. So they wanted me back in the league after I've been in it for the past 2 seasons. And, I've done good on, playing games on time and uploads. So, yeah, so we're here, Season 5. Unfortunately, last season we went in 7-3, lost round 1 of playoffs. But we did do like a coach award thing where, we vote on like best tier 1s, tier 2s, tier 3s, tier 4s, tier 5s, most offensive mon, most defensive mon. So, in coach of the year, and I know for a fact we did win coach of the year. So, looks like they haven't updated, the Discord with it, but I did win that, so, that means a lot, after not doing so great season 3 and then coming up season 4, just doing really well. I think this season, we really go for the championship. I think we have a great team for it. Make sure to go check out all the other coaches. You'll see all their names and their team names in the description along with their YouTube links. And make sure to check out Jesse504 because he was a big help on getting this team drafted. I'm not the best at drafting. I know what works, but I'm just never good at putting it together on a draft. But my good pal Jesse504 really did help me a lot. He's helped me with a lot of my new Wi-Fi drafts. So make sure to go check him out. Great dude, makes good content. And just make sure to go comment on his latest video, Garbage Collector, because he loves garbage and loves collecting it. So we ended up getting 11th out of 16th pick. So a lot of, the really good, round 1 mons went Dragapult, Urshifu, Torrent, Spectre, the GOAT most broken mon in the format, Zeraora, and Victini actually went the pick before me to 6-foot hacks. I was fully intending on taking Victini again as I'm just super comfortable with that mon and wanted to just, utilize it even more than I did last season. But unfortunately, Leo took after he wanted it last season, but obviously I had the pick before him last season, so I got it before him. So it was kind of just vice versa. But he got Zygarde last season, and funnily enough, I got Zygarde this season. So we kind of just traded round 1 picks from last season. So Zygarde is a massive threat. It has very few switch-ins. It's only switch-ins being bulky grass types, but Zygarde can actually deal with those very well. This mon just can do a lot. It forces your opponents to draft a grass type, and if the rest of my team can offensively pressure those a lot, it struggles for those to come in. So Zygarde, I think, can just put in a lot of work with my playstyle. I've been playing in a team tour called PWS. I've been playing in Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon format. And there's a Zygarde team that I've used a few times, and I just love using it. And it's really just because I love using Zygarde. I had Zygarde on my one championship team I had in PMC, where I top it Goku Zygarde 50. So hopefully it can bring us to another championship. I haven't drafted it in Wi-Fi since, so maybe that's the thing I've been missing. I need this Zygarde. So Zygarde, base 95 speed, has a crazy attack stat. I think it's only 100. Paired with Choice Band and 1,000 arrows, there's just no switch-ins. Has a massive HP stat and a massive defense stat. A little subpar, special defense, but, we can deal with that. 95 speed, as I said before, can run a multitude of sets, whether it be sub-toxic protect, 1,000 arrows or 1,000 waves, sub-coil dragon dance, 1,000 arrows, if I can set up on my opponent and know they can't break a sub, I can just set up multiple times. And, or just raw choice band, just, break through for, a win con later on, my next pick. So Zygarde is a mon I am super comfortable with. You'll see it on thumbnails most weeks just because it just offensively pressures a lot of team and can just win games literally by itself. So as you'll notice with the rest of my team, I'm specifically drafting around making Zygarde the best it can be, offensively pressuring and defensively pressuring its checks Like, his best trick is Tangrowth, and even Zygarde can beat that. And I believe the rest of my team, matches up against that mon very well. So I'm excited to see what Zygarde can do for me. And yeah, so I had to wait like 10 picks, and then I got my boy Necrozma. I've had this one twice in Gen 8. I had it in APA Classic, the one at the very beginning of the gen that was Galardex only. And then I had it in BBR Season 2 where it just did phenomenal. I can't talk. It's just a mon I'm very comfortable with. I love my bulky psychics that can do multiple things. Because this mon, can just come in, set up rocks, do damage with Photon Geyser. It has Moonlight, it has Iron Defense, it has Cosmic Power. My opponents that have a Dark type, I can just run, Iron Defense, Calm Mind, Stored Power, Moonlight, and just claim kills. Just set up and win. But Necrozma is incredibly bulky, base 95 speed, not 95, 79. And its HP, attack, defense, and special attack and special defense are all very good for your bulky psychic. So Necrozma just can put in the finest work by itself. It can run a multitude of sets. If you've watched me use Mute, it's basically Mute but just with less coverage, and it can hit harder and it's a little bit bulkier. So Necrozma, I fully think, will probably be my kill leader or the one behind Zygarde. It's gonna be a toss up between those two or what my kill leaders are. But I feel like Necrozma is just a mon that I'm very comfortable with. I've used it to its pretty much full extent in 2 leagues now. So I know how to use it. I know how to get it into positions it needs to just win games by itself. And just to set up, an Iron Defense and just click Photon Geyser, as my opponent's physical mon just can't break me anymore. So Necrozma, it's just a very good mon. It just has all the setup that you need. Whether it be Dragon Dance, Calm Mind, Iron Defense, Swords Dance, Autotomize, Calm Mind. There's probably even something I'm forgetting just because it gets that much coverage. But Necrozma, just a broken mon. Well, not broken, but, it can just do so much. It even can beat its own checks. Like, normally, Psychic types can't beat Steel types. But I have Heat Wave and Earth Power, and if I'm running Physical, I have Earthquake. And I have X-Scissor to beat Dark types on the physical side. So Necrozma, it's just a mon that literally can do whatever you want it to, and I just feel like it pairs really well with Zygarde because it's just 2 mons. My first 2 mons are already mons that you can have to dedicate whole teams to just to beat. So now I had to wait, over like 20 picks. So next one I got Rotom Heat. Gives me a speed tier was in between Zygarde and Necrozma at base 86. It's really nice. It's a really good Volt Switcher, as most ground types don't really want to take an Overheat outside of like Garchomps and whatnot. But it can just Volt Switch around on pretty much anything. It's a good defog. It gives me my first hazard remover. It does give me a Stealth Rock weakness, but with heavy duty boost, it's not much of a problem as I'm not going to take that damage. It's one of the few mons that has the 3 status moves being Toxic, Thunder Wave, Willow. So it also gives me a fire type, so it helps me start on my my fire, water, grass core. And bulky electrics are always super nice, and it pairs well with the Zygarde because Zygarde does not like bulky grass types or bulky water types. And Rotom Heat can, just kind of destroy both of those, whether it be with Overheat, Volt Switch, Thunderbolt. Can Nasty Plot up to just Wall Break, can be Subtoxic, Protect like Pain Split, whatever I need it to be. So Rotom Heat, just does what I need it to. It can be bulky, it can be offensive. It's a good choice scarf, or can trick a choice scarf to pretty much anything to stop setup. So Rotom Heat's just a mon I'm comfortable with because I love Rotom Wash, and I think I can do well with Rotom Heat. So I waited a few more picks, and then I got Primarina. I wanted a bulky water and I wanted a bulky fairy. Kyle A is drafting like a full water team, so obviously I wanted to get my water type out of the way, just so he doesn't take what I want. Because originally, I believe I did want Seismitoad round 4, but Kyle took that round 3. I felt like Seismitoad fit well. It gives me a secondary ground type, so Zygarde doesn't have to be the electric switch in. But Primarina is also fine. It's a mon I haven't used this gen, but it can do what you need it to. It's one of the few waters that doesn't get, reliable recovery. But I feel like I patched that up later on, just because Primarina is a nice enough water type where it's also hard for it, be passive. But like most water types are, it can hit super hard. It has like a base 126 special attack stat, so it just hits super hard with that dual water fairy stab. Moonblast hits super hard, Hydro Pump, Surf Scald hits super hard. Gets Energy Ball to hit other water types. Can always be sub Calm Mind. and it has flip turn, so I can get initiative with it. So Rotom Heat and Primarina would have, you know, momentum grabbing moves. So Primarina is just another one that my opponents really have to prep for, as it's very hard to switch into this mon. You know, if I just slap a Choice Specs on this, which I can do any week, it can just break down any wall, as there's just really no mon that can really take a base 126 modest max Choice Specs Moonblast or Surf. So I always like to have a good wall breaker to pair with my setup sweepers, just so when I get to that +1 attacks out with Zygarde, I can just click 1,000 arrows and just kill mons. So next one I got, so actually I do have two of my typings for my Fairy Dragon Steel Core. You know, Zygarde being Dragon and Primarina being Fairy. I don't know why I was struggling to say that. And I have two of my types for my Fire Water Grass Core being Rotom Heat and Primarina. So just want to mention that. So next up I got Torracats. I wanted a mon that was like over base 100. Specifically over 110, just because that really helps out with your speed tiers. So I got Torracats. It's base 111. I've never used this mon. I've used Torrent a few times, but not extensively. Or in links I'm tryharding. So Torracats just a mon I felt like was very good. You know, gives me a Prankster Defogger, which is always nice. Gives me another, you know, Rock's weakness. But I also have heavy duty boots, so I'm not too worried about that. And with access of Nasty Plot, it can just hit super hard with, you know, Hurricane, Heat Wave, Knockoff, U-Turn, Focus Blast. This one's just a very hard switching mon to switch into. And Zygarde, it really helps out Zygarde, whether if I'm U-turning into it or clicking Hurricane on a grass type. So it really just pressures those grass types. It can beat waters with Nasty Plot, Grass Knot. I don't know why I'm struggling so much. But this mon can just put in the finals to work, and I think it's a mon that my opponents won't always prep for, as it's a mon that's not always drafted. But I felt like on this team it was just too hard to pass up, as that Prankster Defog was really nice. Also being able to set up a weather if I need to, if I want to set up Rain Dance or Primarina, so it can hit harder, or even Sun, so overheats from Rotom Heat hit even harder. And just being able to offensively pressure those grass types and being a secondary win con if I needed to be. So another one I got was Roserade. This is one I haven't used, I believe, since GDL Season 1 at the beginning of the gen, where I just did terrible. It was a team I wasn't comfortable with, and I didn't use it very well. But Roserade was actually my kill leader on that team, and for good reason. It hits very hard with that grass poison. You always want to ground up poison, so your opponents don't just look at you and be like, they don't have a ground up poison, I can run T-Spikes, and you know, they can't really stop me unless they defog them away. So it gives me a ground up poison type. It gives me my second, you know, hazard setters. So Necrozma has rocks and Roserade has spikes and T-Spikes, which is very nice. So it's base 90 speed, so it's in between Zygarde and Rotom Heat. It's a very good choice scarf, where I can, you know, be bulky with like Sleep Powder, Sludge Wave, you know, grass move, whether it be Giga Drain, Energy Ball, Leaf Storm. It does get hard-walled by Steel types, but my team really doesn't care about Steel types. Zygarde and Rotom Heat destroy them. Necrozma can beat them. They don't want to switch into Primarina, and Torracats has Heat Wave, or I can U-turn out. So Roserade really doesn't care about Steel types. I feel like my team deals with them very well. So Roserade, it's just a mon I'm comfortable with. Just hits super hard. It's very hard to switch into. So, and it's just a mon I haven't used in a while. If you haven't noticed, a lot of these mons I haven't used in a few leagues recently, or it's been since Gen 7. So this team's going to be, I'm either going to do really good with it or really bad, as I might not be super comfortable with these mons paired with each other, as opposed to like, I don't know, I can't think of another team where I've used a lot of mons together. So yeah, and it also helps me finish my Fire Water Grass Core, you know, Roserade being the grass type, Primarina being the water type, and Rotom Heat being the fire. So next up, I got Alolan Persian. You want a dark type on every draft, except if you're Shuckle King. He doesn't believe that. But I personally always think you should get a dark type, even if it's not the greatest one, because it forces your opponent to not look at your team and be like, oh, they have I have a Reuniclus, they don't have a dark type. I can just run Calm Mind, Iron Defense. They can't break me, so they win. You know, they at least are forced to even think about considering not running mono psychic moves. So, Alolan Persian's a mon I'm very comfortable with. I've used it a lot recently. Most recently, I had it in BBR Season 3, and it did what it needed to. It's base 115. It can taunt, it can knock off. Getting rid of items is always super nice. It can U-turn out, or it can Partnering Shut Out, you know, lower my opponent's attack and special attack. and just making it towards easier for my Zygarde and Necrozma to come and set up later, as my opponent won't be hitting super hard. It's a low tier dark type for a reason. It doesn't hit super hard. It's pretty passive, but being able to taunt, just being fast enough to taunt on a lot of things, stop my opponents from setting up. Foul play to hit like Swords Dance users is always very nice. And yeah, it's a mon I'm comfortable with. So like with my team so far being mons I haven't used in a while or haven't used in a long time, I felt like it was important to have a Alolan version where I'm comfortable with it and I know what it can do. So next up, I got Copperajah. So this is one I've literally never drafted before and I'm super excited to use. I wanted a Steel type because right now I was kind of actually I wasn't very weak. I can't remember why I needed it, but I wanted a secondary. I wanted another hazard setter. This one also just forces a lot of switches as it has coverage to hit almost everything in the game for at least neutral damage. It gets, Heavy Slam, Iron Head, Power Whip, Seed Bomb, Heat Crash, Rock Slide, Stone Edge, Earthquake, Superpower. So this mon can just hit everything for almost super effective damage, whether if I be like Heavy Metal to make my Heavy Slams harder, Sheer Force if I want Sheer Force, Iron Heads. So Copperajah is just very hard to switch into, and when I force a switch I can set up Stealth Rocks. So I think Copperajah just fits super well with my playstyle, just forcing switches and getting damage off for into Zygarde or Necrozma or even Tornai endgame. So last three mons, I got Porygon Z. I wanted another special breaker to pair with Zygarde. Porygon Z is a very hard one to switch into. I had it on my UPA team and I didn't bring it very often. That's just because that team was forced to bring like the same 6 or 7 mons every week, because otherwise I just kind of guaranteed lost a few mons. Porygon Z is just very hard to switch into. I believe it's base 145 special attack or 130 paired with adaptability. So this normal type move with Tri Attack on Porygon Z just destroys teams by itself. Very hard to switch into, can be Nasty Plot, Agility, just Double Dance, Recover, Tri Attack. Gets Bolt Beam to hit super hard, as that's very hard to switch into in the first place. And there's whether I be Choice Spikes or Choice Scarf, I can just claim kills every time I come in. So next up, I have the mon that I brought to one game between NCP and BBL, and that is Ribombee. Ribombee is a mon that I don't like very much, but I felt like it was very nice on this team having Sticky Web support, having a secondary Fairy type. That's the thing I've been doing a lot, grabbing 2 Fairy types just so in case one goes down I still have another. It's base 124 speed, so it gives me that high speed tier above Persian. And it can also just win games by itself if it's in the right position, whether it be like Quiver Dance, Roost, like Bug Buzz, Moonblast. It really misses out on having hidden powers, as that's really what helped it wall break a lot more. But just Ribombee, being able to throw off those Stun Spores, being able to U-turn out, having Moonblast just hit decently hard and Bug Buzz. So Ribombee is a mon that I don't know if I'm ever going to bring. I didn't bring it. I brought it once, literally out of the 2 leagues I had at the same time. It's just kind of a meme at this point, but I just felt like at round 10, it felt well enough on my team, and just having that Sticky Web support for my Zygarde is very nice. So the final mon I got on my draft, Torracat. What are you going to say about it? It's a bulky fire type. There's just literally nothing else for 2 points that looked usable. And I just felt like Torracat was usable. It's kind of fast, has Intimidate. It's pretty bulky with Eviolite, so it still does take Stealth Rock damage. I can U-turn and Parting Shot out. I can Willow. It's not going to do much. After the draft, Veps has kind of noticed that my last 4 mons kind of look a lot like, actually, it looks a lot like Steve Magnitude's team in BBR Season 3. Because I know he had Copperajah, Ribombee, Torracat. I believe he even had Roserade. So, yeah, wasn't really trying to take that, but it just ended up like that. So that's just super funny. So thank you all for watching. Leave a comment down below, 1 being the worst team, and 10 being the best team you've ever seen. On a scale of 1 to 10, tell me how you think my draft's gonna do, and what do you think my record is gonna be. Whether I be 10-0, 9-1, 0-10, like 5-5. So thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.